Hey guys, Millennium with Stonethetics here, and today what we were going to be showing you what to do is we are going to be showing you how to make our nice Carrara Mist. This one actually is a bit interesting because we didn't quite find the right cap for this, so we had accidentally switched caps with the black, so we'd accidentally instead used a hammered bronze, and it came out really interesting. Despite that not being quite black, it came out really, really nice. So first we are mixing up our epoxy. Make sure to put an equal part of part A and B into the epoxy. And we will be mixing with a drill paddle for about 2 minutes. So our recipe for our Carrara Mist is the base that we painted our sample board with is bare gallery white paint. And for our epoxy, we tint that with our epoxy dye, which is a white opaque dye. And what we had initially meant to use for our spray paint is a Rust-Oleum black gloss. Unfortunately, we had accidentally mixed up the caps at the time, so instead we ended up doing a hammered dark bronze, which turned out to be not too bad looking on there, just a bit different. And we're going to pour out the epoxy after mixing it with white opaque dye in for a bit. We're going to pour it mainly in the middle of the board, and we'll trowel it out to the edges later, so don't worry about it being at the edges for now. When we get our trowel, we're going to mix it up a bit first, get any gunk out that might have gotten in there, and we're just mixing it back and forth in the middle just a bit to make sure that everything is just mixed perfectly in there. And once we're done with that, we're just going to gather it up into a bead, and we're going to pour it out onto the edges, just very slightly dripping along the edge. Don't worry too much about getting everything over the edge, otherwise you might not have enough left for the other edges, and don't worry about if you miss a spot on the edges. We'll take care of that in the next step. So now we're going to get our brush, and we're going to first prime it up a bit with our excess epoxy left in our bucket. We make sure to do that so that way it doesn't drag or lift off any epoxy from our board. And we're going to brush out our piece. As you brush out your piece, make sure you use the corner of the brush, not the edge. And as you can see, I'm using random taps on the board, not strokes and not a linear motion like in a line. That can create a less organic look for your piece. Just making sure to still get everything and still pay attention to which parts you're doing, but not do it in a sort of organized fashion. And we're going to brush out the edges using long horizontal strokes, and you can go back any parts that look like they need a bit more brushing, but that will make sure that we have a nice amount of epoxy over the edges and nothing is bare. So we're going to spray out some paint on the drop cloth on the side. We're going to take a brush and dab it in the paint to the amount that you're wanting. You dab the paint onto the board, spreading out the paint to where you want, making sure that areas surrounding the stronger parts where you have a bit stronger color, and make sure that you have the surrounding areas a bit more grayed out color. And I'm just planning out where I want to do these spots. So you can see we have a close-up here of us working on this, and the way that you want to do this part of it is by dabbing a bit of stronger color where you want it and spreading out your taps from that. As you continue tapping, there's less color in your brush, and you can do that to get some lighter areas in some areas, or dab the darker parts or your drip cloth to get some darker color in. Make sure you have multiple dark areas and light areas to create interest in the overall piece. And as you can see, I'm just making sure to go over the whole piece, making sure I have a good mix of dark and light throughout the whole thing. This part is really fun.
Then we're going to go over this with our heat gun and use it to feather out the color more and make it flow more naturally. This also softens out any of our edges that might be a bit more obvious that they were placed with a brush, any of the edges that are a bit harder as if they were painted on. So go over it and use the heat gun to push the epoxy in any way that looks good. And as you can see, it makes it just flow around a bit. It can also spread out your pattern a bit. Nothing's wrong with that. Just means that it'll be shifting. You can also put the heat gun closer to the piece and farther away and see what effect those have on your parts.
This piece came out really nice. It's a bit more of a subtle effect, very calming, peaceful effect, and the way that the hammered bronze worked is it just made it that much more of a subtle effect, where you still get some dark spots, but it's very much more of a light appearance throughout the whole piece. If you liked what you watched, and if you like the sort of content that we do, make sure to subscribe to our channel, share this video with your friends, make sure to like the video, and comment below on what you liked in it. From all of us here at Stonethetic, built by you, built for less, built to last, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching!